What's up everyone, happy Friday. In this video I want to talk about some Bitcoin news, a recent proposal from Microsoft. We also have a study comparing Bitcoin ETFs to the early phases of the gold ETFs. Very interesting. Now you guys might have seen this last night, Microsoft and a potential shareholder vote to see about putting Bitcoin on their treasury holdings. Well, the board of directors already urges to vote against this. And they say that they have already carefully considered this topic, but maybe it's time to consider it again. You know, whether this gets approved in the end or not, I think this is still kind of a big deal. This is still kind of monumental. We have some shareholders, it would be nice to find the source who is really pushing this, but we have shareholders pushing these large companies to try to add Bitcoin to their treasury, to try to protect themselves against the inflation of the dollar. Right now, Microsoft is the fourth largest by market cap with Bitcoin as 10th. I wonder if by the end of this cycle, Bitcoin will overtake Microsoft. What do you guys think? I think it'll get very close. Bitcoin is right around a third the market cap of Microsoft. If Bitcoin were to get to about 150K, it would probably be surpassing Microsoft's market cap. So I think there is a possibility this cycle that Bitcoin does overtake Microsoft's market cap. And consider this, if the large caps see a little bit more of a pullback, if we have fears of entering a recession, if we start seeing unemployment rise, seeing inflation tick up, dare I say, the market could start suspecting that the soft landing isn't going to be achieved. And we could definitely see these larger caps lose some market cap because of it. Now, here's what Mike Pompliano thinks. Microsoft is interested in storing a portion of their balance sheet in Bitcoin because they're realizing they can't store it in dollars over the long term. The digital store of value will continue gaining adoption by those looking to preserve their hard-earned economic value. Well, Microsoft urges against this vote, but I think these companies will come to the conclusion Pompliano is making, that they need to do something against these dollars. They don't want to just hold dollars in their treasury. Now here's an interesting article talking about gold ETFs and comparing them to Bitcoin. This is Binance Research. Bitcoin spot ETFs outperform early gold ETFs in the first year. Now I will leave this down below for you. There is quite a bit to it, but here are some key notes. Bitcoin ETFs are seeing far greater adoption than early gold ETFs, driven by institutional and retail interest, with 1,200 companies invested in the products compared to gold's 95 firms. The funds now represent over a quarter of Bitcoin's spot volume, leading to reduced volatility, increased market efficiency, and broader crypto adoption. Bitcoin ETFs have recorded 24 weeks of positive net inflows since their launch, whereas Bitcoin ETFs have pulled in over 18.9 billion. As of this research, the gold ETFs pulled in about 1.5 billion in under a one-year time frame. And like I said, I'll leave that down below for you guys, but we have a couple more things to look over. We have some Tesla news. We also have Shiba. Inu has been seeing increased volume. There might be some whale activity there. Whales are probably getting ready. And of course, Bitcoin and its golden cross. It's about 700 points away from its golden cross now, and this is literally around the corner in my opinion. But yeah, Shiba Inu went from a low of 925 billion SHIB to a high of 3.42 trillion SHIB within the past week. And the number of transactions worth at least 100,000 rose from 48 to 209, so roughly a 4x in transactions worth at least $100,000. And then we did have Tesla confirming that they still hold their Bitcoin. There was a series of transfers to unknown wallets, but later this was clarified as simply wallet rotations. Now Bitcoin, that golden cross, like I showed you guys, or like we mentioned, you know, it's only like 700 away, so close to flipping. Remember, it is a lagging indicator. As long as we can maintain this, I think inevitably we are going to have a golden cross even if we drop. I think it's inevitable at this point. Once that golden cross flashes, you know, if this can give us what we need to break that previous cycle peak, break all-time high, I think we aren't looking back from there if we can break those two important zones. Those are the two last zones in my opinion that Bitcoin needs to break, and we go parabolic. This golden cross might give us that extra oomph. Now in the beginning of the week, we were looking at some bearish divergences. We were seeing that the price was rising while the RSI was cooling down. This kind of continued to sell off a little bit. We came down and tested 65 and quickly bounced, which is great. Now let me show you guys the spot Bitcoin ETFs on a chart. We have been seeing these nice inflows. I mean, look at this. This is almost similar to kind of early in the year when we were just getting nothing but green, getting excitement, getting that bullishness, starting to see, you know, the light at the end of the tunnel, starting to see that Bitcoin is going to rally, is going to give us some amazing gains. The fear is starting to subside. Retail is starting to get a little more bullish in my opinion. You know, when you look at something like this, when you see the debt that is just completely running away from us, there is no catching up to this in my opinion. I don't know how we're going to catch up to this. I don't think that our congressmen, no matter which side, can be smart enough, can be, you know, good enough with our money, can be actually uncorrupt enough to keep our money in the US and not going to foreign policies, going to foreign countries. I think that is just something that we don't do. There's too much corruption. Our money doesn't help us. It helps other countries, in my opinion. All politicians are bought and paid for. It doesn't matter which side you're talking about. And you know, our debt of $35 trillion, before you know it, this will be 50 trillion. When does it end? I don't think it does. The interest expense alone is $3 billion per day. So I'm just kind of breezing through this really quick. But look at this as well. Bitcoin, whales. The whales keep loading up. This accumulation pattern resembles 2020, July 2020, when Bitcoin surged 550% in just 6 months. Bitcoin accumulation by large holders has reached 1.6 million Bitcoin over the past 6 months. This accumulation is creating a supply shock. Let me show you this, guys. This is insane. This is the Bitcoin on exchanges. We are getting very fucking low. Pardon my language, but we are getting so low. This is going to happen. It's going to be crazy. When you see what's left on these exchanges, there is not a lot left. Can you see the direction this is going, the clear trajectory? You can see the Bitcoin that is just consistently being taken off exchange. When did this start? Right around the approval of the spot Bitcoin ETFs. It was just so consistent. Look at that. We have never seen anything like this over the last few years. Sorry, this is as much data as it gives us from back in 2021. But you know, look how consistent this is going down, and there's no end in sight. Soon there will be no Bitcoin left on exchanges, and we will in fact be fighting for the last Satoshis. Sorry if this video is a little all over the place. I've been distracted throughout this video many times. Let me know what you guys think about Bitcoin on exchanges. We're at levels not seen since something like 2018, maybe even longer. It has been multiple years since we have seen this amount of Bitcoin on exchanges, and I think the supply shock is here. The supply shock is coming. And I'll pull up this picture for you, but look at the Bitcoin that's left to be mined. There is not a lot of Bitcoin left. Once this Bitcoin is taken off of reserves, I don't think it is going to go back to its original levels ever again. Sure, there'll be crypto winters. There'll be times where Bitcoin on exchanges actually grows, where the market can't eat up that daily supply of Bitcoin. And of course, there's selling pressure and more Bitcoin ends up on exchanges. But we are going to keep seeing the supply on these exchanges, cycle to cycle, dwindle more and more till they have just such a small amount left. Price will accommodate that. At certain points, the price has to go up to a certain level where sellers are incentivized to sell. At some point, you know, Bitcoin will be at a price that the buyers just can't keep up. You know, buying Bitcoin for 50,000, you can buy a lot more Bitcoin if it's 50,000 versus if later in the cycle it's like 150,000. So consider that. At some point, Bitcoin will be at a price where the market just can't keep up, and then we enter crypto winter down the road. But in my opinion, that is quite a long time from now. Just keep in mind it does approach before you know it. But anyways, you know, the main point in Bitcoin, the vast majority has already been mined. We are fighting for the last scraps of Bitcoin over the next 100 years. So hopefully you have your bags packed. Hopefully cycle to cycle you don't sell everything, because there is one point in time where I think the cycles won't play out and there won't be a real definitive crypto winter. It'll just be like a 20-30% correction or something. It might not be this upcoming crypto winter, but one day Bitcoin will stabilize a lot more. And of course, yes, the gains will be less substantial, but the drops will be less substantial as well. It'll be seen as more of an investable product because it is safer, because it is less volatile, and as what we want for institutionals to invest. That's what we want for companies to buy Bitcoin and add to their treasury. I don't think they're all going to pile into Bitcoin if it is so volatile. If you can buy Bitcoin and then a couple months later you're down 40%, I don't think companies want that when they're looking at something for their treasury. But Bitcoin will stabilize. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you guys have a good weekend. This is going to be fun to edit. I appreciate you guys as always, and I'll see you on Monday.